Politics with DJ Alf 7.
Hey, what's up? It's your boy DJ Alf 7. That's right. Today I got a special guest. I'll let her introduce herself, though. Go ahead.
Hey, what's going on? My name's Aly Alexandra. It's good to be here. Thank you for having me on.
Okay. So, Aly, how might people, what are you doing this whole game right here? You're an activist.
So,
My channel's mostly about activism.
sorry about the cat. It's just crazy.
No, cats are awesome.
Yeah. So honestly, a lot of what I do, I'm a writer on the side of what I do normally during my day job. I've liked to write. I mean, I've written for a long time, but I've always been very interested in politics from an outside perspective. I'm really interested in how people join groups and kind of like I like to observe people and especially how politics influences people. So that's kind of what I write about. Lately, within the last year, I've become active just like with content creation. Seriously, don't mind this cat. And I'm currently just taking over a channel. It's called Chicago Corner, and that's where people can find me. I'm just taking it over. It's under the Hard Lens Media umbrella. I'm sure some of your viewers have seen Hard Lens Media based out of Chicago. So I'm kind of just branching out with content creation and collaborating with different people just to get the truth out. That's really all I'm ever after is the truth.
Okay, Hard Lens Media, most people are going to know, like Kit Cabello and his co-host. They do a show. But I didn't know that Chicago Corner was actually part of Hard Lens Media. How many other groups are like, this organization that are under Hard Lens Media?
No, they only have a couple, so that it's really a project they're starting out. Chicago Corner is its own entity, but it's called 99 Perspectives. That's the big umbrella, and then you've got Hard Lens Media, and then you've got Chicago Corner. So it's different offshoots. So as time goes on, they're going to be having different channels under that. They've also got another channel called Chicago React. So it's essentially just building out different channels in time that are their own entity, but they work in conjunction with Hard Lens Media.
Okay. I also heard that Hard Lens Media is also broadcasting on cable access. Is that true?
They were. They're not anymore, but for a period of time they were doing stuff with TV. So they're not doing that any longer.
Why are they discontinued the whole do you know why they discontinued?
No, I'm not sure because I believe that was like a year ago. I'm not sure what happened. I think they just found that it was more beneficial to go just YouTube streaming only.
They got too large for that. Yeah, there's a little bit of like, a lot of extra work that submission requirements and stuff that have to go with, which is a little bit pain in the butt. But I am actually hoping to actually build a national network of actually cable access TV programs across the nation, so we can have a national alternative right away. Yeah.
Right.
So that's cool.
Right.
All right. So Chicago Corner, I'll be checking that out.
Yes.
So not really so much of a strong activist background. So. Okay, so
no.
Yeah.
No.
But I do see.
I mean, I've got a lot of friends. I've got a lot of friends in different activist groups. But like I said, I'm more. I like to observe and kind of see who's really like going after the truth versus who's just like saying they're for something, but they're really not. So yeah.
So one thing you may have noticed, right, from being actually a media source, because the media is very used by especially nonviolent protesters. The idea was that media would create a crisis of conscience. That's what kind of stopped the Vietnam War. But we could see now that the mainstream media is definitely co-opted. But actually, the progressive media, I think, for in a large way, misses a lot of the story. Because in your time, I believe that you recently did a story with DSA where you actually jumped in a meeting and actually uncovered the fact that they weren't really actually able to have a coherent discussion on force the vote because they were too busy interested in maintaining their leadership and their own position and optics and how things looked, right?
Yes, exactly.
Now, when you were there with DSA, you can see that there's a lot of other people that are, like when you go to the DSA website, you're going to see AOC there. You're going to see Cornel West portrayed on the front page of the thing. But in all your time, like, I don't know how many times you went to DSA meetings and stuff like that. I've been to a bunch of meetings, like, MPP, stuff like that, right? You ever see Cornel West or AOC in a meeting ever?
No.
You ever hear them, like, involved with ground actions, or were they anyways, like, chipping in any way on policy? Actually, you as an outsider just visiting the meetings randomly actually had more to do with what actually happened in that organization than these celebs. So when we look at the progressive media out here, even the progressive media that's out here that a lot of people are fans of, do you see any of these progressive media people actually engaging with activism in a way that gives them a little bit more ability to report on things that happen on the ground in an accurate way?
No, I think that they're actually afraid of doing that. They don't want to be affiliated with it. They want to be a voice on it because that's what's trending, that's what's cool. You know, half the time that's what they think. But no, they're rarely actually on the ground. That was part of what drew me to like understanding DSA better, is because there's such an image
Yeah.
and they get so many people to do the work for, you know, the people at the top, but the people at the top don't really care about what's going on the ground. So it's fake to
Okay.
me. That it comes out very fake.
Have you ever heard of someone named Richard Idris?
I believe I have actually. Only one. I would like to hear more, but I believe I have.
Okay, he's actually an activist that was involved with the Draft Jesse movement. He's actually has a quite skeptical view of leadership in general, which I also share just from my experience. It wasn't that I came to these conclusions right away. But the thing is that often people who are in these, the thing is that these people, these progressive media pundits out there, and I'm talking about all the ones that you all are probably watching out there, it's not necessarily entirely the fault because they get surrounded by a bubble, right? The thing is that they don't really have time to go to a normal meeting with normal people because they're already talking to people that have, that meeting might have like 10 people, 100 people, but they could talk to another, person who's already has like 20,000, 50,000 because of their large platform, and it seems like they're getting more done. But then they don't see how the people on the the normal volunteers are treated, if they have a voice, and especially in these movements that talk about being, standing for the people or being, a representative of the disenfranchised. These organizations are often not even concerned about the disenfranchised at all, and it's extremely disturbing. Yeah.
Yeah. That was, yeah. Go ahead. I didn't know.
So the thing is that media personalities sometimes they come in with a particular bent. To tell the story from a certain angle. And as an investigative journalist, I guess that's what you're really trying to enter this particular field, right? It's a tough, a lot of regular people have been gotten rid of. You know what I mean? They find a way to destroy you if you are actually going to be reporting the truth. None of the other progressive media outlets were really able to, were willing to report on DSA. Did you have any second thoughts about, making that move, or did you face any retaliation or, price as a consequence?
There were a few people from DSA, I believe they were higher up in the leadership, that messaged me and they wanted to get me like on a phone call to talk about it more. And I wasn't that interested because, like I said, I don't really have any stake in the game aside from just kind of finding out what they're doing on the inside and then just telling that to people. Because honestly, another part that prompted me to do this was my experience in Chicago and seeing how DSA was operating in Chicago, basically controlling a lot of these protests and then getting people who, there's a lot of younger kids, like to do the dirty work, and they're the ones that end up, getting in trouble, going to jail, and then the leadership gets to go back home and sit and talk about theory some more. So that was what prompted me to kind of look into what they're really doing more. So yeah, I mean, I didn't really face a lot of criticism because like I was kind of like a nobody. Nobody'd heard of me. I was surprised that, the interest in that topic took off as much as it did. Yeah. Because it's just the truth. That's all it really is. And apparently that's, hard to find these days. So I didn't face a ton of it because I didn't really want to engage with them. It was pretty obvious how they are. Like, I don't need to hear from the leadership. You know what I mean? Like, their actions speak louder.
One thing that kind of shocked me when I kind of like entered the field was I even talked to some people who like run for government positions recently. They'll have a cool idea and they'll be like, oh, I can make these changes. But you don't realize the amount of pushback that you receive when you're really trying to redirect millions of dollars from one path into another lane. Now, I don't know how much money DSA makes, but if people are trying to impact like the Democratic Party or those other, the establishment, right? These politics that we do, we try to engage this in forcing the vote, whatever, that could actually cause systemic change. There are certain forces that are, the billionaires, they have so much more money than us, right? Anything that you could, we're outfunded by what? More than 100 to 1. You know what I mean? Anything that you could just dream of on a pipe dream, wouldn't that be an interesting idea if we could like investigate these small groups and, maybe break them up and make sure that they don't interfere with our interests? What do you think that, right? What do you think the possibility is that they have some people in place to make that happen? There's so many millions at stake. It would be illogical for them not to. And the amount of pushback, right? But it's kept really quiet and on the low. But wait till you start to actually, interact with these things. You will see all the real crap come out. So be careful, but it's good. You know what I mean? Keep digging in. Yeah, keep digging.
Yeah, for sure. I'm not looking to necessarily like ruin anybody's life. I just see so many people like spend hours and hours and hours just like being part of these movements, and they end up getting co-opted or not being what they say they are, and then it's ruined. I mean, your experience with the People's Party, that kind of says it all. So that's what I'm interested in finding out about more next. I have DSA figured out. I would say movement for the People's Party would be next.
One thing I'll
'Cause
share
they're
with you
all
right now that
out-
people, yeah, one thing I'll share with you they ain't talking about is they talk about making me in charge of the East Coast. But you know who's in charge of
Okay.
the West Coast? Jerry Perez, leader of Our Revolution LA, who penned that letter, who said that, there was a problem. So, a lot of people are just pointing towards they're trying to point out things on the petition or whatever. Jerry was not just a normal coordinator. He was actually in charge of the whole entire West Coast, including Hawaii. So,
Oh, okay.
so the people that were really doing the work the most are the ones who are able to see the problems, in
Yeah.
their face.
Yeah, and that's I have talked to some people that are in DSA that were on the ground. Actually, let me take it back, because there were a few people that, like friends of mine, that were in DSA on the ground, and they kind of came at me. They're like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "It's not about you. It's about the people at the top taking advantage of you, essentially." Because another thing with DSA, just kind of skipping around here, but their biggest I would say core tenet, aside from saying that they're for Medicare for all and such, is just getting anything that they're going to support has to lead people to join the organization. So that's why they would not get behind Force the Vote, because that wasn't a DSA backed idea. That wasn't going to lead more people to come into DSA. But they don't really have the infrastructure on the inside to provide what's needed for the amounts of people that have joined DSA in the last year. So it's another brand of the Democrat Party, and that's what people got to understand. They would not be the DSA if they left the Democrat Party. That's how they formed. So that's what people really need to understand. Any DSA backed candidate's not going to really go that far out of the approved talking points.
Yeah.
Because if they were that controversial, they wouldn't be allowed to be there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and also, as a leadership, right, what people on the ground need to understand is how much does DSA gain from their celebrity endorsements versus how much they gain from their ground activists, and what is really happening. If you're talking about ground activists, you're looking at real policy changes being pushed forward and actual achievement, being advanced on the street. Not only that, but you will also see local leaders start to have more shine, or things will start to happen. If you have a top-down structure, you're just going to notice a focus on a certain number of celebrities again and again and again, with very little progress or anything to, organization to speak of or visible development of infrastructure throughout the locally within your particular branch. Yeah. So
exactly.
what do you think can get us away from this type of clout chasing, celebrity fascination? Because the thing is that it's my theory that actually it's mostly bourgeois. You know what I mean? The bourgeois have more control of some of the resources, and it's their message that is projected, not truly the ones who are disempowered. So the movement is twisted in their direction, and actually that's the role of the bourgeoisie, to control the dissatisfied masses.
Yep. I wish I had all the answers for this. I would say, as hard as it is and as stereotypical as this answer is to continue just exposing. Now, there's different ways you can do that. Like, you have one way of doing it. I think the way that you do it's just very direct. A lot of people, they might be a little like, ooh, scared of that. But my approach is more like, let me just get in and write about it and like tell what I saw. So it's just more different methods of that, and convincing people, just showing them like, hey, you're supporting this celebrity figure. What are they doing for you? How is that working out? I wish that we could just, get out of the duopoly that we're in, because that's a whole other aspect, is like to even get another party in. But I'm not really a fan of political parties, to be honest. I would like to just drop that altogether. So, I'm not sure. It's going to take people. I've noticed a lot with progressives, more so than a lot of like the Yang people. I have friends with a lot of people in like the Yang circle too, because I like to talk to different people.
Interesting.
I don't like to talk to just one group. That's what I mean. Yeah, I'm not like, I wouldn't be like, oh, I'm a progressive. I've got friends on literally all sides, and some people might not like that, but how are you ever going to move forward if you don't know what others are thinking?
That's a
So
huge hole in our community as well. You could see that
mhm,
I bring up Yang again and again, and you can see
right,
my message goes absolutely nowhere, even though he's about to become the mayor of New York City, even though
right,
he's set to be like, the watchdog of Wall Street. Like, hello,
right.
guys, right? But they're still obsessed with AOC. I get it. You're right to criticize her on some things, but there's other things going on in New York.
Yeah.
And it's good for their ratings as well. So I can't
Oh,
hate it because that's by promoting conflict, that's what people tune into. So
exactly.
these progressive media outlets, I understand where they're coming from too. But one thing that I want to tell y'all right now is you need to start expanding your focus out. People who are monetizing their organization, I can't hate on it because I get that. I get that to an extent, but also you got to understand there's a certain truth that gets that the pressures are put on them to bury them. They're worried about losing access. Okay,
Yep.
they're gonna lose out certain interviews. I've lost out on a bunch of interviews. I'm telling you right now because of the positions that I take, and that's so you got to expand it. And people like Aly who are saying new things and different things, you really got to tune into smaller content producers who are on the edge and have more of a reason to be on the forefront. A lot of these large progressive media YouTubers are kind of like sailing by on things
Yeah.
that they accomplished in the past and really haven't really generated anything recently, and
Right.
that needs to be
Right.
reviewed.
Yeah, and that's what they talk about. A lot of the progressive channels, I'm not going to hate on them either. But I know that, now that they're monetized, I get it. That's how they're making money. Like, people have to remember that even on your side, they're monetized. People still want to get paid. So you can't just like buy into all of it. You've still got to be critical and question things. I think that a lot of this, like I've seen on the progressive movement, is like now even media figure, smaller creators are starting to like grow, and a lot of their followers are praising them just like they would like a Bernie Sanders or an AOC. Like, even like somebody like Jimmy Dore, he's cool with me, but you have to still be objective and critical. And I'm not saying Jimmy Dore is like a media figure, but you know what I'm saying. He's a comedian and he's got a big following because he went into the political realm. So really, yeah, you just got to be objective, and that's I think the hardest part, because to make money, people love conflict, like you said. So you're obviously going to put content out there that's going to get clicks.
Yeah.
So it's always just good to remember that people, you have to be able to think for yourself. But really, the biggest thing for me the last few years has been branching out and just hearing out other political viewpoints. Not because I'm, going to believe it, but you have to talk to people. I think that's the most toxic part of really why the progressive movement sometimes can't move forward, because, or, like continue to grow. Because if you're a certain person or a certain type, or if you were affiliated with something in the past, some people aren't willing to talk to you. Like a lot of like the DSA types, they won't hear you out if you're a straight, white person, which whatever, think what you want of it. But like, it's just certain qualifications that you can't meet, then you don't get a voice. And that goes directly against their message of being inclusive. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
there's a hierarchy that forms, and some people's voice is worth more than others, and
Mm-hmm.
it's ridiculous. Yeah, and I ain't taking that shit. Hell no. You know what I mean?
No,
Yeah, hell no.
no,
Yeah,
no, I'm not. I don't want to be beholden to anybody. I'm really just searching for the truth wherever it takes me, even if it's not where I thought it would be. And I think you always have to be open to learning and understanding that you're not right all the time. You're going to be wrong,
yeah.
and just learning from people. I think a lot of, that's hard. That's a hard thing to do. People get really emotionally attached to their ideas, but I'm just kind of getting sick of, I'm not gonna lie, it's on both sides, but with the progressive media circle, it's like the same five topics over and over again.
Whew, damn.
You know what I
Gotta
mean?
call it.
Like,
Yeah, gotta call it like it is. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So that's how I feel about that. So yeah.
Well, if there's a hole in the market, right, then we need to fill that, and
Yeah.
that's what's up. So, Chicago
Yeah.
Corner. I'm definitely interested in checking out that channel, more of what's going
Yes.
on. Now, you said that. What other things you said you're not so political, right? So what are the things that you're doing besides politics? Because politics really, for me, is really an overwhelming part of what I do. But I just want to get understand more. So what else are you planning on doing?
Well, honestly, I'm a big nerd. I like to research a lot. So when I say politics, it's more like that's the end goal of what I do. So I like to research, for example, like, how does policy come into play? How do other aspects shape like development as far as like movements and in cities? So I'm a big researcher. I like to like study like for example, like in Chicago, there's just like city planning, like the city government itself, like what decisions are they making and how is that impacting a lot of people, especially in this city, it's really segregated. I like to research things like that. And that ultimately leads me to then writing something that encompasses politics, but also public policy, like cultural aspects. So really, it's just a big mixed bag. I'm interested in a lot. So I
Okay.
don't like to limit myself. So
Are you
you'll
going to
have to
get
say,
picked up by any? I know you self-publish, right? On your what's your blog again?
yeah, so it's Aly Alexandra .substack.com.
Are you getting picked up by any? Are you getting picked up by any other outlets or stuff like that, or trying to publish to any?
A couple have reached out to me. I don't want to say on here, but right now I just kind of want to stick to myself and just be solo. I'm not looking to. I don't really have a goal in mind besides just getting the truth out of people. Like what I have to say, cool. I like to collaborate with people. I like to just talk to people. That's
You know,
what I like to do.
I'm part of a group called Justice News Network, which is me and Larry from Seattle. And like I said, I'm trying to get my stuff. If you guys are not on cable access, I'm trying to get us in cable access in all regions. And I would
Yeah.
love to actually help project your voice. If not, just what we do is we just take the content, we repost it on the Justice News Network GoJNN.com website. And
Awesome.
we're actually just starting to bring up. I'd love to have your voice on there. I want to have. I always love that line from Scarface, like New York, Chicago, L.A. And we got New York and L.A. And I've been waiting on Chicago for a long ass time. Otis
Yeah,
from
right on.
Illinois, but he's not from Chicago, so I'm definitely super
Okay.
excited to put Chicago on the map. And also,
Right on.
Chicago is. I used to be part of something called the National Socialist Organization, and we used to meet up in Chicago. Chicago is a point for many, right? It's also where Jerry Springer's at, yeah. But I mean, because of its like central location. Chicago and Las Vegas are like huge hubs for many national activity meetings. So there's
Yes.
so much going on there. Actually, I think that's going to be a site for MPP, and I'm sure I'm going to actually be visiting Chicago soon because
Right
there's just
on.
so much activity that actually goes on there. So I'm looking for allies in that area. Yeah,
Oh, for sure. Well,
no
you've
doubt.
got one here. I'm down to help out with whatever, and I would love to bring you on Chicago Corner sometime because
Oh, that's
I love
cool.
you. Yeah, I
I
almost moved to
appreciate
New
that.
York, so
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
for
Cool.
sure.
All
I
right.
would be down. Yeah.
So, yeah,
Cool.
that's really exciting.
Right on.
In terms of the Yang thing, what's your understanding of the Yang situation? Because I know there's so little talk about it within. Do you tune into Yang Gang content producers and stuff like that?
No, I mean, this was a while ago when he first came out. I was just interested because I was like, oh, he sounds a little different. What I was interested in about him was that he was saying something that we're now seeing play out. He just kept saying your jobs are going to get automated away. That was what piqued my interest. So I was like, okay, that was all. I don't know I don't much about like the content creators for Yang. I just know that his following is very loyal. He's got another, like one of those.
He does. They are extremely loyal. Yeah,
Yeah.
they love the
And
ideas. Yeah, and
yeah. And that's something I think to tap into. Go ahead.
one thing that's actually interesting for people who I definitely encourage them to start observing Yang more. They're much more politically young than the older ones, and you can see that they are much more strongly loyal than some of the older ones who have been burned before. And it's funny I could say burned because when we're working with the Yang people, right, they often complain about the burners because they'd say, oh,
Yeah.
the burners would say, oh, you guys don't know what's happening. Look what happens in 2016. You guys are going to see what's going to happen. And the funny thing is that because of they still have this antithetical view of the burners, they cannot learn from their movement, and they are blindly making the same mistakes. And it's so frustrating to be part of their movement and to watch it in real time and to be screaming, waving my hands around. Yeah. And I'm the only
Yeah.
one because everybody else gave up on Yang Gang. Yang Gang, what's up? It's your boy Alf7 here. Bring me back in from the cold. Bring me back in from out of the
Yeah.
dark. You know I'm your homie. You know I got your best interests in mind. You know I'm there putting in work like nobody else. You know what I mean? Why am I the one who's banned? It's real fucking
Yeah,
it's
that's-
real weird. Yeah.
That is weird. I mean, yeah, the Yang games, they're definitely younger. I think that they are a little more open to some ideas versus, I would say, other little groups. But yeah, that's interesting that I'm interested to hear more about you later in time, like with your experience with the Yang gang
Yeah.
and just how you've kind of moved about in different
One thing
circles.
that's vital for y'all to know, just being someone who's involved on the ground and within these movements, what y'all got to know, and I hope I'm have not investigated in Chicago personally, but I'm involved in campaign movements. I worked on Jamal Bowman's campaign. I was sniffing around AOC's campaign. I've been in her calls. I've been with Yang Gang. I've been with Tulsi Group.
Oh,
I've been
wow.
with all these groups. Yeah, I'm there. Like
Okay.
MPP. I was running the shit here in New York. Yeah. The thing
Yeah.
is that Yang Gang and people want to complain about Justice Democrats. Their ground game is so goddamn strong. They have so many people ready to put in time to volunteer to make those calls, etc. So if you guys want to complain about it, right, but you're not willing to do the work to get your candidates or to really impact the electoral process, then you know what I mean. You could sit on that high horse all day, but for real, you're not impacting anybody on the street, and you need to just get smacked the fuck up because honestly, you're not helping. You know what I mean? Really?
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's cool. We kind of share that then, like going in different groups, not because you're changing your mind. At least like for me, it's more to kind of bring people together and learn. It seems like that. So I think that's cool. You've done more of like the actual on the ground activism.
My line is, I don't care if I don't want to work with the people who agree with me. Right. I want to agree with the people who will shape the future. And I know that people are putting in the work. And they're going to shape the future just like I am. They're determined. They're there. You know what I mean? All these people like floating those positions and stuff. I got to work with people who are going to do the work, and we got to find a compromise in the middle. The more people that are complaining, and that's a lot of the people, if we can stand together, if y'all can stop, like, you know, put the effort where it needs to go, right, into this electoral thing, y'all could really easily, with the amount of work that I see y'all gabbing away online, if y'all actually got involved and actually made phone calls, you know, went to houses and door knocked and stuff like that, you could really primary AOC for real. But, you know, even you could even go after a Pelosi. You know what I mean? It's the money and the Hollywood that's backing her up. But the ground forces can make it happen. That's it.
Yeah, it's just getting people off their computers. And I'm not saying I'm any better, but that's part of my frustration now is that, like I said, people keep talking about the same things in the same circles. And like in the chats, they're just like, yeah, she's a sellout. She's terrible. Like, what are we doing?
Aly, I have to admit, somehow you get me super excited, yeah? The thing is that you're a new generation. You see the truth, yeah? A lot of times the old cats, even if they establish in this game, they get kind of like solidified, rock hard. They can't see anything past their old-time perspective. But you definitely see, just straight up, it's the fucking truth, you know what I mean? And it's obvious in your face. I think the new generation realizes it, and the new generation has been ripped off so many times. Yang Gang's filled with... I love them, but they're a little bit bougie, okay? There's like definitely like, you know, they're rich tech kids that came out of the universities, right? They're thrilled with the idea. Ideas can save the world. Guess what? It's implementation, dude. You know what I mean? While you're in your like little tech in your they call it the ivory tower. You know what I mean? There's us forces down here battling it on the ground. So lead from the front, not from your tower, your secluded tower in the wilderness where you don't even you can't even see the field for what's happening. So,
exactly.
Yeah. So I'm counting on now. The only thing that kills me is that you're not really so committed yet. But as you continue to tell the truth, you will get burned, and your commitment towards this we will see. Like if you determine this to be a big problem, right? Yeah. For me, it's a huge problem because you could see I'm suppressed like crazy. You know what I mean? Kicked out of groups left and right. Yeah. The more truth you find, and the more you are suppressed, the larger you will realize the problem is, and you will make it determine whether you want to stand and fight. And a lot of people give up. Don't fucking give up.
I'm committed. I'm committed. Don't worry. It's more like I take my time to like look at the big picture because I always see you're everywhere posting shit, and I love that. And I'm almost like I can't keep up. So
you know, another reason why I love you is because the thing is that you are cool and hip, and honestly, the new game, right? Yeah, like that's kind of like where the message is driven. Like you take a look at hip hop, right? Yeah, we addressed a lot of issues, right? People said hip hop was a fad. They said it was whack. You know what I mean? It was from the streets, and unfortunately, it did get co-opted. But the thing is that the street culture, street values, you know what I mean, people who are out here on the front lines, it's the youth, it's that energy, you know what I mean? And I'm an old cat, you know what I mean? But there needs to be an evolution. It's like a phoenix, you know what I mean? You can never kill it. It just keeps it has to reform and re-emulate. And I see the future. You are the future. So don't let nobody tell you that they can stand in your way because they're the past and you are the future. You get what I mean? And I'm
sure.
Hell yeah.
Thank you. I really like your energy, and I would love to like continue, working together and kind of seeing where things go. So yeah, for sure.
All right, I'm gonna definitely share the link on in the description below. Thanks for coming on, Aly. You are fantastic. I definitely plan on catching up with you again. Thanks again. You were awesome. Good. You rock.
Thanks for having me.
See ya.
Thank
All right,
you.
cool. I just hit stop on that. Okay.
It's a dark day in our nation when high-level authorities will seek to use every method to silence dissent. The truth must be told.
And if you want the truth, you need to check out independent media producers just like myself, DJ L7. You should subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notifications when I release a new video.
Truth of these
We are
words
on all
is
the major
beyond
platforms.
doubt.
That includes Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course YouTube. Unfortunately, we have definitely seen that these mainstream outlets will cave to corporate interests, so we encourage you to join our independently moderated communities of Reddit and Discord. We also encourage you to subscribe to us on BitChute Daily Motion so you can see the content that YouTube doesn't want us to let you see. Hey, now it's time for the most important part of the video. That's right. It's time for us to tell you about the Taking Action Group. Do you need an activist? Or maybe there's no activists around willing to help you with your cause and you need to learn to become an activist. That's exactly why we're here. Every week we get up with people from across the nation, in fact even sometimes internationally, and we develop strategies and a game plan to address the issues that are affecting all of us. Every week myself from New York City and of course my co-host Lisa from Los Angeles provide a coast-to-coast perspective on what's going on in the country. If you want to donate to help out with expenses, travel, equipment, stuff like that, then I definitely appreciate it, and you can hit us off at Venmo or PayPal. Thanks a lot. Hey, by the way, we also have a merch store, so check it out. Oh my goodness, it seems like you've reached the end of the video, so make sure you check out some of our other videos. Make sure you subscribe. This is your last chance to do so thanks a lot. And looking forward to seeing you on the next one. Hope you guys enjoyed. Please comment below if you have any questions or issues you'd like me to address. And if you're an activist, the time to make things happen is now.